All right, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us. We have the quarterfinals of the pre-modern spring fling. I'm joined here with Brian Manolakis.
How are you?
Doing good. We got Could be an interesting matchup. We have your sped boy Jeff White. He's playing the Rock, and then Felix is playing Red Green Goblins. So you have the deck lists, right, Mano? Do you have
Yes, I
any
do. Yeah, you
input
sent
of?
them out. They look lovely.
Okay. Which deck do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about goblins a little bit because that's one that I'm less familiar with, and it looks a little bit less stock than I would imagine from your father's goblins list. Jeff's list looks, 57, card stock. I have a question for you about the goblins list because you are a couple questions because you seem to be more plugged into pre-modern than maybe anybody, Martin Berlin included. Do most of these decks play Mog Flunkies, and do most of these decks play green mana?
Um, the For the green mana, I can say that in the past, no, not as many. The go-to was black mana. Duress was the most common splash for the Goblins deck,
Yep.
and we've seen this month two of the Goblins decks, both of them, were playing naturalized. One of them was playing them in the main. Felix has the three in the board. So that is, I mean, it's not necessarily new tech, but it is, I guess, a shift in the meta. People had used duress in the past, and now it looks like, I mean, if you just look at statistics, that naturalizes the preferred flash
Is
right
it
now.
just to have outs for Engineered Plague? Like, what's the
Yeah, and I mean, just
Ensnaring
Oath of
Bridge?
Druids, or there's just more cards that naturalize is gonna fit, and it's a little bit more reactive in terms of duress that you need duress before that pesky enchantment or artifact
Right.
comes down. When naturalized, you can draw it after the fact. Um, so I think that's the thought process there.
Okay. Yeah, it
And
feels like you have to splash either green or black given the nature of pre-modern, right? You have the fetches and the all that stuff, so it's really hard to splash something else, blue or
yeah, sometimes you
white.
can just you could play Flaring Pain or Anarchy are two of the cards if you're worried about circular protections. Also, I've
Yeah.
seen in the black decks, Draw News Crusade is another way to fight both circular protection and an engineered plague.
Yeah, I
So
love that one.
there are, well, I guess that requires a color, Draw News Crusade, but I've seen lists that just have Flaring Pain or Anarchy that kind of just are going to deal with the white cards that way.
Okay.
Okay, as we get things kicked off, Felix starts with a Goblin Lackey.
His actual best start and his only way to win, which seems like playing a Goblin Lackey unencumbered against with no Festering Goblin or Vendetta, I think is
Yeah,
really.
yeah. The only thing is though is Jeff's deck is it has a lot of answers to a turn one Lackey as compared to most of the rock lists that I've seen. I'm gonna pull Jeff's deck up real quick. Um, so the things that I kind of point out is some lists play Vendetta, but I think most don't. And he has two Festering Goblins main. There we do see the Vendetta to take away the Goblin Lackey. And uh, so that's really important for Jeff because otherwise,
Well, that's part of the reason why I think Jeff is about 98% to win this matchup, just because turn one Lackey feels like his real only chance, and Jeff has five ways to do it.
yep.
To take care of it. When a lot of rock decks have zero,
Hmm.
Festering Goblin's a card that I love and want to play in so many like heavy black decks, and always end up cutting because I'm running Mesmeric Fiend, and it's just like such a feel bad when that happens. But I think Festering Goblin, like this is exactly where you want to have Festering Goblin, right? It's just the perfect card.
Yeah, it really shines in this matchup. It makes it really difficult for Felix to get on the board and be aggressive in the early game. And that's a wall of blossoms that comes down, so that's gonna answer preemptively the Mog Flunkies that it still needs a creature to go with it. So
Yeah, so that's my question. So Mog Flunkies is a card. I've cast so many Mog Flunkies in my life, more than I'm probably in the 99th percentile of Mog Flunkies cast because it's in the broken draft and I played a lot of red decks back in the actual mid 90s. But I really feel like the card is underwhelming and I didn't know if it was stock or if this was his tech or what the story was with
I've
Flunkies.
seen it about half of the Goblins lists, and I think the thought is just it's kind of a harder hitting two drop. the goblins really are lacking in the two drop department. Most of the time, they really only have pile driver, and that's not a very impactful two drop. It's usually something you want to play on turn 5 or 6 and swing with a war chief and a siege gang commander. So the if you want to come out, he also has like a I don't remember the number of Mog conscripts. So that's like
He
something
plays
that
Maul Constripts. Holy
yeah.
crap!
So
Okay,
that's
he
something
does
that
play
goes
one.
along with the flunkies really well. If you can go turn 1 conscripts, turn 2 flunkies, then
Yeah.
if you're continuing playing creatures, then that's a really aggressive start.
So he plays 9 1 drops. The 4 lackeys, obviously, 3 fanatics, 1 vandal, and 1 conscript. So he liked the miser's conscript over the 4th fanatic or another vandal or actually he has a skirk prospector hanging around too. So 10. That 1 conscript feels crazy to me. Like I have another kind of unnatural love for that card as well. I actually won a PTQ back in the day playing like 4 Maul Conscript, 4 Ball Lightning, 4 Pup, 4 Fanatic, 8 Bolt, 4 Fire Blast dot deck
Sure.
in a time when nobody was playing Maul Conscripts. And I don't know. That was actual 96 when we had nothing better to work with, or 97. But it
Yeah.
feels like there's just better things to be doing here. I don't know. But again,
Well,
he's in the quarterfinals.
yeah. I mean I like the conscripts. I mean if it's just a way to pressure your opponent that two drop two power goblin for 1 mana. Yeah, I mean you're very likely to have a creature every turn. So on that last combat, we saw Wall of Blossoms block the Mog Flunky, and then a Gem Palm Incinerator took out the Wall of Blossoms.
Yep, which I figured he would just sack the Mog to kill the wall and play another Goblin, but Incinerator is even a much cleaner answer than that. That's pretty perfect.
Yeah, I think part of it is Felix is looking for more red sources. He's drawn one Carplusion Forest and then has Wasteland, Rishon Port. Now there is a mountain.
Yeah, but now he can't play anything because of the deed. Wow, that is an ugly deed from Jeff White. Come on, man, it's disgusting.
Someone did comment that, and he said that they had that he needed to work on upgrading his deeds. And he said, "I got to get naturalizes first."
Jeff said that.
Yeah, he said couldn't find any naturalizes. So
Oh my god. So first he starts with the Kirkland brand Chronicles Crypt in the new Com Top 8. Now he has Kirkland brand deeds. He doesn't even own Naturalize, which is a freaking, whatever, common from I can't remember the set it's in, but that area.
Onslaught when it was first came out.
Onslaught, yeah. All right, so how do you think this is going? This seems like it's going okay for Felix, all things considered. He's going to get his board blown up, but it's not that big a deal. He's, I don't know, like he's still a dog, but like it's going okay for him.
Yeah, especially because he's only committed like 2 cards, and from this spot, Jeff's I think like 4 pressure or 5 power or 4 power. Even if I think Jeff is kind of forced to do something.
Right, and he's going to have to blow this up, and now he's probably matroning for a siege gang, I would
Yep.
imagine,
So
right?
now, yeah, that deed looks a little bit awkward because if you know he has a siege gang in hand, you know it's going to come down after you use it. So yeah, I
Right.
mean this position actually seems pretty good for Felix.
Yeah. Maybe my 98% was a little high.
Yeah.
Could be as low as 92%.
Yeah. Yeah, but we
Oh,
haven't
yeah,
even talked about what happens after the sideboard games. So.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
ringleader
that's
is
true. The sideboard is rough. He gets ringleader or not. I mean, he knows his deck better than me. That was just my first guess, but ringleader makes a ton of sense.
yeah. That's also something that it's a little quicker pressure that it has haste. Also, it's possible that there's a sea chain commander in his hand.
Right. I guess so. It's pretty easy for Jeff to get control, but actually winning the game for him is a little bit of a problem because he has all these vendettas and raging goblins. He only really has manlands and ravenous Beloth. So again, ravenous Beloth is another card which is amazing against goblins, but like his clock is pretty slow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
He doesn't.
on the touch of Ravenous Bailout, that yeah, I think it's good. It's a solid card, but it's not. It's better against Sly than it is against Goblins because if you're playing like a 4/4, Goblins can just stop attacking for a few turns and then eventually set up like a big swing turn if they have like a War Chief in play. So it's
Yeah.
it's powerful and good, but it's not just the end all be all for the goblins.
I
So.
agree. I always, whenever I see it, I always think that it's Loxodon Hierarch, and you can just start recurring it and gaining the life and getting the 4/4s and doing all that. But like, not stacking damage and having to trade the actual guy for 4 life is kind of a buzzkill. So Jeff didn't tap his land on his upkeep to blow the deed, maybe expecting him to ringleader, and if he has another land, he'll be able to allow him to not ringleader pre-combat.
Yeah.
Or he's just playing the Beloth first, just to like slow the fort. Yeah, okay, that's what he's doing.
All right. The City of Brass.
So then I don't know if you're
Is this like the
you
go
just
ahead to play like a Siege Gang commander or something? I
or just
mean,
playing the ringleader and just bring in the team and see what happens.
yeah.
Maybe. And now he did play a wastelandable land, although that City of Brass is almost his win con at this point.
Yeah. But yep, does opt for the ringleader right away. But, I mean, if he finds an incinerator, then
Yeah,
that's good. I think he. I don't remember how many were left in it.
yeah. Actually, that's another card I love. I'll bring his deck list up so I can have that handy. He only plays 2, I
Okay.
think.
It's. I
So
know when I played, I went down to one because I just found myself playing against decks without creatures so many times that it was there
yeah.
when I needed it with Album Matron, but most of the time I wanted one. But
What the
I
hell
mean,
is this card? Goblin Fire. Oh, that's Tinkerer. Never mind.
okay.
Okay,
So
Tinkerer.
that's a pile driver, matron, war chief, and seed. Or is it a flunkies or yeah, it's a
That's a flunkies. No, I
okay.
was looking at his deck list, and there
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
card tucked behind another card, and I thought it was some card I'd never seen, but it was Goblin Tinkerer, a card I'm very familiar with because of scryings in old school.
Okay.
So we only got one card off of the ringleader.
No, he
Oh no,
got
we got.
four. He got a full
Oh,
four.
Jesus Christ!
I
All
think
right,
that
well
maybe they
everything's.
were just going over what war chief does.
Yeah, this is going his way for sure.
Yes.
He can't deed. He's going to block. I guess you still
I
block
mean,
the. Actually, you probably just block the ringleader here.
yeah, because then you can't give him the option to sack the Mog Fanatic to get rid of the Bailout. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, this attack. I mean, if he blocks, if he wanted to prevent the least amount of damage, he could block the flunkies, and then he's taking five, and then he would lose his Bailoth. Um,
Yeah, ringleader's also tougher to deed away. So this saves Jeff some mana to deal with later. And also my gut, whenever I see a flunkies, and it's probably not here, but it's just like my kind of heuristic is to strand the flunky as much as possible. Like kill everything else, keep the flunky around and strand it. Here
okay.
it doesn't seem to matter because his hand is just fully loaded with creatures, so it's kind of irrelevant. But wait, so what just happened? He did block the flunky,
Uh,
and Felix did not mog.
oh, did he just not block? No, he did. But why
He
did he
had
go
to
to
block, right?
10? Didn't he only go to 13?
Um,
All right, so a Drained Hermit comes down, so that gives him a bunch of blockers. Um,
yeah, I do also want to point out while this is happening that Felix has his revealed cards just sitting on the table face up in front of him. I almost want to petition the pre-modern bosses of the world, Martin and you and Jared and Andy and Mike Harris, just whoever the ringleaders are, to make that mandatory. When I direct Cabal Therapy people, almost everyone does that, and I pretty much ask them to. But like, I don't even want to have to ask. I just want it to be like, fully understood. Those are the rules of Skype and real life pre-modern, that you have to leave your cards down on the table face up, so I don't have to write shit down and cross stuff off. It's so annoying.
um, I guess I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with people do it either way. I know I'm thinking of the match that we played in pre-modern where you dressed me and you're like, "Can you play face off?" And I said no because I have
That was you? Oh, that was you.
yeah. Well, the reason is because I do recordings and I have a hand camera, and so it's instead of having like basically two hands of ones of the cards that you haven't seen that I would show to the hand camera, and then the others that you have seen revealed on the playmat. It was I thought it was
Right.
easier,
Also,
better
so
production
you
to keep them in my
I do
hands.
remember that now, and you had a reasonable excuse. And given your arguably the hardest working man in pre-modern, I'm willing to let that one slide. Like that actually makes sense. But I feel like I played a couple matches where people are just like, no, I'm just gonna hold them, and like that's just not okay. It should be shamed. Okay, I wanted to publicly shame it at least a little bit here.
So do you want to fill us in on the Mesa Pegasus tokens as the
Yeah, so
squirrels?
those are for those of you who only play pre-modern and not old school, Jeff White just won the biggest um old school tournament of the year, basically an online version, given we're in coronavirus world now, of Magnus de Laval, the Martin Berlin of old school. His big tournament in Sweden was played online. It's called NoobCon. This year it was called NoobCom because it was like, I guess, played on the computer, and it's kind of a little bit of an inside joke. But Jeff White won like a 70-person event with Sacred Mesa Control Brew that he put together. This was not your traditional old school tournament. It had Scryings, which was an expansion made up by Magnus, cherry picking cards from Ice Age through Visions to add as sort of an old school expansion, quote unquote. And he decided to use Sacred Mesa from Visions. And those were his tokens from that, those Mesa Pegasus tokens. And so he's running them back here, even though they're not really on theme for Deranged Tournament, but they're still sweet as hell.
So Gem Home Incinerator from Felix, he targets the Deranged Hermit to get that out of the way, to make the squirrels smaller. That's kind of interesting.
It looks like we missed a couple of turns during all that stuff. So Jeff paid Echo and then played a Blastoderm the turn after.
No, that's oh.
Right? That's the only way any of this could have happened, I feel like.
Has that been a Blastoderm the whole time? Oh, I think that was a Blastoderm when we were thinking it was a Ravenous.
Was it really? We just assumed it was a Baloth? Okay. So that all these plays make so much more sense now. Maybe we should pay attention. That's on me.
Okay.
I just assumed it was a Baloth.
I thought it was too. So okay, so Sharpshooter is coming out of Felix, so he's threatening to shoot down all those squirrel tokens next turn because he has War Chief and the Sharpshooter. If he would have had Skirk Prospector, this turn would have been really exciting because he would have been able to play Prospector, War Chief, Matron for a Sharpshooter, and then
shoot all the guys and attack with all of his leftovers and leave Jeff at like 5 or something. Yeah. So Jeff is this Blastoderm's going to go. This is really kind of a Goblins clinic, this game.
Yep.
I haven't seen this deck in action in pre-modern before. I've seen some old Legacy versions.
Well, everyone just fears like the turn 1 Lackey that you can just kill out of nowhere, but it grinds really well with Goblin Matron and Goblin Ringleader. There's a lot of card advantage in the deck, and it can pull out of a lot of situations that maybe look grim from a lot of boards. But so yeah, it does have a lot of staying power.
Yeah, and it's really kind of showcasing kind of what we talked about prior to the match, that Jeff, like, sure, he can gain control, but he doesn't really do anything or win the game. And in that situation, grinding with ringleaders and matrons and whatnot is a pretty good strategy.
Okay. Yeah, I agree that you just give him time, and Felix really can take advantage of that if he's given the opportunity. So now a Ravenous Bailout does come.
But this is still going to be an ugly turn, right? Because if Jeff, he has Flunky, Warchief, Sharpshooter, and what is the last Goblin that he has revealed? Is that Prospector?
It's Sharpshooter, Pile Driver, Flunky,
Pile Driver.
Warchief.
Okay.
So I think if he has a Vendetta, then maybe he can save most of his tokens. Because he could, in response to the first trigger, he can kill the War Chief, and then the Sharpshooter no longer has haste. But then, I mean, same thing is going to happen next turn. So,
right, but he's going to deed at some point anyway. He just wants to buy a little bit of time to get this deed off. And actually, deeding, he really wants to not lose this Baloth this turn, because if he can deed everything but the Baloth away, oh, now he has a Siege Gang. It puts him in an okay place. So here's the play that you just said. So it does smell a little bit like Vendetta.
mean, he could be targeting the sharpshooter too.
Right. It's the same way. He's almost certainly going to D next turn, right? Because the Blastoderm's going away, so it doesn't really matter which one. I guess he's going to be chump blocking anyway. So
Yeah, and then it saves him a
does
point of life.
Vendetta? You take damage equal to power. I think is that what it is?
Either
Or
power or
casting power?
toughness. It's
Yeah, it's power. I think it's power. Yeah. So he's just bringing the team into this. I'm not sure how I feel about this because this is just full chump territory indeed next turn.
yeah, committing a little bit more surprises me a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
because
Because now he has 5 guys, 4 blockers. He can take one from a matron, chump everything else, keep his Beloth around for a turn, get in a swing, gain 4 life and deed. And I don't know how he's gonna. Maybe he has another deed or something for the siege gang, but that's really his only. Oh no, he has two unknown cards over there still. I keep looking at only the known
yeah,
cards.
the known
So
card is a flunky.
no, it looks like a siege gang, right?
Pretty sure in his hand the one face
No,
up
you're
is
right. You're right. It's a
flunky.
flunky. Yeah. Okay, that's a lot less scary. Okay.
Yeah. So the team comes in for the goblins, but yeah, the attacking with the pile driver or playing the pile driver is it really only
It just gets in 1 damage because he's going to chump block with everything anyway. The
yep,
matron,
and the matron
the
comes
one
through.
one is going to get through, and
Yeah.
that's basically it.
But the question is like if you didn't play the pile driver, is the attack still good? Yeah, I think the attack's okay. So you're throwing away your war chief problem. So it's kind of a bad situation.
So Jeff took the pile driver. No, not the pile driver. He took 3 somehow.
He didn't block with the Bela. Or,
Maybe he didn't block with the Beloth, right? He probably took the ringleader and the matron because they're the ones
but
still around. Yeah. Okay.
what is he if he didn't block? What is he afraid of? There's
I don't know. Is he planning to not deed?
but even so, just
I
block
really, really wanted to block that ringleader now so he can deed for 3 and keep his Beloth, right? Wasn't that kind of the
yeah,
plan here?
or just block to take less damage. I mean, there's I don't think there's I think Felix played a land, so I don't think he can. I don't think there's anything that punishes him.
All right, so Jeff is just keeping the deed around and hoping to. Is he naming Flunky or is he naming something scarier?
I'm guessing. I'm guessing Flunky's come first, and then he can sack
Yeah.
the Blastoderm.
Yep.
Attack with
After
it
attacks.
first. Yeah.
Yep. Get the free one. Then he has Matron and it looks like War Chief in his hand. So
Yeah.
I guess you probably take the Matron because Siege Gang is terrible for you. But then again, War Chief isn't great either. He's at 5.
Yeah. But he still has a wall of roots in play. So, and he does have manlands that we haven't talked about.
Right. He does have 2 manlands kicking
Omniscience
around.
Factory.
So.
We know that Ringleader costs 4. The reason that we were talking about Ringleader is if he got Ringleader off the board, then he would only need to deed for 3, and then he could keep the Ravenous Baloth around.
Right.
Well, if it's on the table, then he needs to deed for 4 to get rid of the Ringleader. So he's just attacking with both. He's attacking for 9, so more aggressive line than I guess we thought.
He's turning on the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine. He has a wall and a factory back. Like he's gonna take out. How much mana does he have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Felix has 7 mana. So I'm trying to think of what he can matron for that would be scary right now. Nothing has haste because there's no war chief. I mean, he could matron for another ringleader.
I think that's probably what he would do.
Yeah, that seems like the play to me. And it has haste and it's hard to deed.
So,
Oh, was Jeff just?
Oh,
I think
Jeff did not wait. He's flashing
I think
back.
he might be. Oh, he's sacking his treetop to Cabal Therapy rather than the Blastoderm that is dying. That
also he didn't he put a counter on the thing instead of tapping the treetop village. If he's just sacking it, why doesn't he just tap the treetop village?
Yeah,
That confuses me.
that's a
But
little bit. That's kind of minor, but I do feel like I mean the Derm is going away, right? It has 0 counters on it. Yeah.
he still gets to gain 4 life now. He can sack it to the Baloth.
Oh,
So
wait, because it's a beast.
yeah, it's a beast. So
Okay,
that's the trade off there, I guess. So
that
that
makes more sense. Okay, I didn't realize that's what Beloth said. Okay.
yeah, it's sacrifice any beast. So and
Yeah,
yeah,
you're well versed in beast. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, this is really kind of a quick script flip as Jeff just one attack like that and all of a sudden that's half of his life points.
yeah. He definitely has, and it's kind of forcing Felix to get something bigger in play because otherwise the D. I guess he can only deed for 2 right now.
So he's going to block for 2,
Yep.
go to 2, but he said synthetic 10. This is a little bit rough
Yep.
because
Well,
he can't attack with the Baloth really and um
I mean, I would be willing to attack for 4, then just blow up the board.
right, I guess that's well he can't he tapped his lands. If he draws a land,
Okay.
I guess he can.
Okay.
But if he draws a land here, it's attack for 4, gain 4 life, blow up the world, and now he's at 1 and he's at 6, and they're
Well,
both playing off the
even
top.
if you do it for 3 here, he's got a 2/2 and you got a 4/4 that you can also gain 4 life, and he's at 1. It's not a terrible spot.
Yeah. Oh, he drew treetop. So I do feel like Jeff might not have known the Blastoderm rule because it looks like he didn't gain any life.
Yeah.
I think he might just literally not know that rule. It's not very intuitive at all.
Okay.
And
So
so
yeah,
he had
here on the spot you can block with the wall of roots on the ringleader, and then you can just activate the deed for 3, and
right,
that'll
take 0.
yeah, and that'll force Felix to do something post combat. Okay, here's a ringleader. Also, Treetop Village having trample is kind of relevant when Felix is at 1.
Yeah, super relevant.
So we have a lackey, 2 CG and commanders, and I think it was a
Mall conscripts.
okay.
I'll know that art. Um, plays. I mean, I don't know about
Oh,
necessarily.
he can't cast the CG because he can't make double red. He tapped because he tapped a mountain. He only has 1 pain-free red source right now.
Right. Oh, so he literally can't. Well, he didn't have 5 mana anyway. I don't think, but he
Well, it's
can.
4 because of the war chief.
Oh yeah. You're right.
So I think I would just deed here, and then he's dead. You deed here
Right.
for
You
3
just deed
or
block
block and deed. Well, I
block
guess
deed.
if and then well you have to and then sack yes. Well,
No, because he can tap. He can tap the treetop
yeah.
with
So he's not just dead.
port.
So
So he's
because think he's forced to sacrifice the Baloth now.
yeah. He is forced to sack the bailout. It'd be real nice if he were at 6 right now.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I can't fault him for that because I literally had no idea about that. Although I guess he is in the top 8 of he played this deck for 8 rounds. So
Well, he. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I don't. I was gonna say. So wait. Now are we going back on the attack?
is this one ringleader not attacking
That doesn't make sense to me. Now Jeff can block the ringleader and activate
and
D
blow
for
up the rest
3.
of the world and attack with the Baloth, force a block, but that still actually isn't great for him
Well, no, because he. Oh yeah, because there's still the Rishadan ports that would tap
because of the
the.
ports. Right. The
Yeah.
port is really who knew port was so good against manlands? If only somebody would have told me that. But yeah, I think Jeff's actually screwed here, and I think he's screwed here because he didn't gain the 4 life, sadly. Because otherwise, this whole thing is different. Like, yeah, it looks like I'm still trying to figure out why that one ringleader is not tapped, though.
He wanted to block. But from what we have seen,
Yeah, I guess he just. Well, let's see if he attacks with the ringleader. Yeah, he has to sack it, right? Because he can only take care of one ringleader, and he's at 2, so he would have to sack Beloth anyway.
yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. Man, these games have a lot of play to them. It feels very simple on paper. Oh, play all your goblins and the rock deck deeds and plays a Beloth, and it's easy. And there's just like, so much nuance.
Yeah. So an activation for the D3. Okay, so presuming that he blocked first.
I'm assuming he blocked, right? Yeah. And then it's going to be 1 Beloth against 2 ringleaders. So if Jeff draws, does he have any other removal? Does he have like any edicts or anything?
Edicts are on the board. Plus, edict would just make him sack the tapped one.
Yeah. So he has no. He's really arguably drawing dead here.
I think like another Ravenous Baloth is probably.
Yeah, sure. That would be fine off the top. Yeah.
The Rishon Import taps the Treetop Village.
Treetop upkeep. That's right. I guess you have to attack here to kill a ringleader, but it just doesn't matter much.
Yeah, I guess he's just gonna be able to play and activate Siege at 2.
Well, he'll get to gain the
4,
4, but like he'll still just be. He'll still take 4 anyway. So he's just. I guess he can't attack then. Just none of this really matters. We're thinking about the stuff here when Jeff's in an unwinnable spot now.
Yeah. Attack with Baloth, the blocks. Trying to think of any cards in the rock deck from the.
I mean, unless he drew a Beloth, or like I guess a Blastoderm would save him a little bit. All right, so if we didn't play a card, then that has to be it because he doesn't have, because we know deck lists. I guess not being able to tap that red. Oh no, it doesn't really matter.
So, this should just attack. Playing a Siege.
I guess he can sack in response to the game 4 life trigger. That's what he's doing here, right?
Okay. Yeah. So he's making.
So now attack. He sacks Beloth. He sacks the guy. That's that.
If these are coming into play, that's not ideal for Jeff.
Right, and I mean, again, none of this matters. Like, he's completely drawing dead at this point. But yeah, these are little tiny things that in a tighter game could matter. But also, Jeff's probably at the point where, he's given up.
All right, I don't know why Felix let that resolve.
Right, that was the whole point, right? It was supposed to be in response to the game 4. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was the whole point of playing the Siege game.
Yeah, I know. Well, whatever. They're working out. They're playtesting their decks during the top 8. I've been there before. I get it. It's fine. They're figuring out how their stuff works.
All right. So Jeff draws a card, and it's not a. Well, I don't know if there was anything. I don't think a deed would have.
It's not Wrath of God / Mind Twist combo card.
Yeah, well, the Mind Twist is probably more likely, right?
Right. We do have, so in the Broken Draft, we do have a couple of Wrath of God Mind Twist split cards because Wrath and Mind Twist were next to each other on the rare sheet and revised. And I have some severely miscut, not factory cut, revised miscuts that are split almost down the middle. And so it's half Wrath, half Mind Twist, and we actually play them as split cards in the Broken Draft. You can play either half.
Okay. Which half gets cast more?
Mind Twist usually because it's easy to splash, but like it's funny because sometimes you'll play like a 3 or 4 color deck that's really just playing Mind Twist, and you'll backdoor into like 2 white mana and play the Wrath out of the blue, and it's just like a very cool interaction.
Yeah, I can also see that sometimes if a deck's one way to play around Mind Twist is to play all your cards to the board.
Yeah, so it's like the perfect split card, right? Because you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna pull up Jeff's deck list. So the second game is still without sideboard, but we didn't really get a chance to talk too much about what
List.
Jeff has going on. So the thing that's most surprising about Jeff's deck is he doesn't have Birds of Paradise in his rock list, and this is the first time that I can recall that I've seen a list without it. And he's just opting just have Pestering Goblin as like a speed bump, and then just saying instead of me ramping out to that stuff and losing it to a deed later, I'm just gonna have cards that have more value after a deed, I'm guessing.
It's funny that you mentioned that because when I glanced over his list, I didn't really even notice that. I guess the Goblins and Vendettas take up the spots of some card, and in this case, that card is Birds. But I was randomly I was on a run the other day, maybe listening to the pre-mod cast, and I was thinking about Deed in the Rock, and I'm like, why do all these rock decks play so many elves if you're just going to deed them all away? And I get you need to accelerate and you need the mana to actually cast and activate the deed and all that stuff. But it did feel like, in general, I don't know what stock rock, how many elves it plays, but it did feel like they were maybe a little heavy there. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if Jeff had the same conclusion and it just decided to shave some of the mana ramp because of the deed disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm guessing because his deck it's kind of just a black-green control deck. It doesn't have a ton of pressure. It doesn't hit that hard. So the card advantage really could hurt him. I think because the games are going to go long when Jeff plays. I think because he's.
So how different from this is full-on stock rock? I know that stock rock does not play Festering Goblin, and I know is there usually a couple of removal spells, albeit not vendettas. But is that usually the case?
Room for it's. Usually between Smothers, Vendettas, or Diabolic Edicts.
And usually is it usually 2 or 3?
Yeah, it's usually 3. I usually only see the lists with 1 Recurring Nightmare and 1 Deranged Tournament, where Jeff has 2 of each. And then most rock lists don't have both Wall of Roots and Wall of Blossoms, I think is kind of the difference.
And they play 4 birds.
Yes,
usually.
Typically they play
so basically it's 2 goblins, maybe a Deranged Hermit and a Wall of Blossoms or something for 4 birds is roughly the swap here.
Yep.
And he's on 4 Vendettas, which in general is not the norm, but it's the best removal spell against turn 1 Lackey.
Yep.
So it does seem like all the choices he made are good in this matchup, right? This is where you want Vendetta. This is where you want Festering Goblin.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, and so you're feeling really safe against this Goblin Lackey when you play your Festering Goblin. Because no matter what.
I didn't even realize they started. Yeah, this is just the dream, and this is why I want to put jam Festering Goblin in every single deck, but it's just like you've said, too many times you're playing against creatureless, and you have a garbage 1/1 that kills your own Mesmeric Fiend.
Yeah. So Felix is going to try and build up a board, and obviously he can't just trade the Lackey for the Festering Goblin. Yeah, the problem is
end up losing this game to his
mana base.
Yeah, black green is a tough one to pull off in
Well, the card he played was a Yavimaya Elder, so
it helps. But he's going to end up taking 5 damage from Painlands, which is kind of huge. Oh, just seeing that forest out of the Goblin deck just makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit. I feel like it's probably necessary for all the sideboard cards. He probably only plays 1, but it's disgusting.
Certainly, Felix has been kind of choked for red mana, at least the early part of the first game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he'll be okay in this game, but yeah, it's...
Yeah, playing against Rock is tricky, right? So, what do you do here? Do you spew your hand? Because he can't really attack in any of this shit. No. So do you spew your hand to try and get around and hope he doesn't have deed, or do you like slowly build up to hedge against deed? Like, what's your play here?
I think it depends on your hand, but like if you have War Chief and uh, either Ringleader or Matron, then I would play the War Chief, hope it lives for the next turn. Then you can kind of start getting card advantage. Like if he got War Chief into Matron into Sharpshooter, then he'd be able to attack.
Right.
And we did see so now we see the Goblin King. So that's probably Felix's best answer to the Festering Goblin. So
Yeah.
the Festering Goblin can't by itself kill a goblin. But let's note that the Festering Goblin on Jeff's side is a goblin. It is +1/+1 and has
It's
Mountain Walk.
amazing.
So
Yeah.
I guess it's still
It's kind of the same thing ish,
yeah.
but it's yeah, I've come across that interaction sadly in old school a couple times, pumping my opponent's goblins. It's really annoying.
So here's a matron.
So
What
he's
is he
going to
getting?
matron, I assume, for ringleader, right? Like it has to be ringleader, unless he has one and he wants to war chief into ringleader or something.
I'm getting a feeling that he doesn't have
War
another
chief,
land, but
yeah. But I mean, whatever. This game isn't going to end right away anyway. I don't think.
right. Yeah, I think Ringleader is
I
the
think you just
only
have to take it.
the only downside is if you're kind of hanging out with Ringleader in your hand for a while, it's not going to come down. You do know that Jeff has Cabal Therapy,
Cabal
so
therapies, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is that therapying ringleaders or matrons here is kind of big game.
yeah,
Sounds crazy that you'd want to that Cabal therapy naming Goblin Matron is an important play, but it definitely is.
so Felix is contemplating what he wants to get with this matron. He gets, I think that was Gem Bomb Incinerator.
Incinerator. So I guess now he can kill the festering goblin without him getting a kill out of it,
I think
right?
he's more looking at, well, maybe not. I was to say he's looking to kill the Wall Blossoms. One thing that's kind of nice about this preemptive Gem Bomb Incinerator, if Jeff was going to curve out and just play a Ravenous Baloth, that makes it kind of awkward because Felix has the 4 goblins in play. Or there's actually 5 goblins in play.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But I do feel like getting that ringleader.
Okay. So Cabal
Yeah.
Therapy.
So you have to name Incinerator now, right? And then you flash it back
Oh,
on Siege Gang, and that's
well,
probably just the game. Although maybe you just take Ringleader and strand those Siege Gangs. I don't
yeah,
know.
I guess it depends on
What
how
else is
well
in his
equipped
hand?
you are to deal with
Yeah.
a ringleader, because the ringleader could come down a turn earlier, but the siege gangs are harder to deed away, and I don't know, a 2-for-1's always tempting. It's
It
definitely not
is.
Mog Flunkies, I can tell you that. That's not the
Yeah,
card
that's
I
the
would
one thing
name.
we're sure of. No one has ever once Cabal Therapy naming Mog Flunkies, and it's not about to start now. Um, yeah, this is close, and I'm just trying to figure out blocks and what he even sacks is a little bit awkward because there's reasons to sack all of those creatures. I mean, I guess you're not going to sack Wall of Roots over Wall of Blossoms, but other than that,
I think
the
I'd
Goblin
sack the
King is really
Elder.
making sacking the Festering Goblin pretty terrible, so that's actually out. But do you sack Blossoms, or you probably just sack the Elder to get the
If
lands because it looks like
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
hungry for land.
especially if he's missing a land drop this turn, I think I would
Yeah.
sack it and just to hit your land drop.
Right, because you can still block all that garbage for the most part. Although you can't kill pile. Oh no, you can't kill pile driver because it's a 2/2.
It's
But
it's a
then
2/3, so you'd be able to block with the Festering Goblin. Oh no, yeah,
and,
block with the Festering Goblin, and then use the
and
ability
kill
to
it.
finish it off.
But then the festering goblin goes away. But then you're less worried about Lackey at this point once you cabal therapy away.
So he's getting rid of the
Presumably,
Wall Blossom. So if Felix were to attack, he'd be able to block the Goblin King with the Yavimaya Elder and the Festering Goblin on the Pile Driver, and then
yep.
he'd trade off the Yavimaya Elder
But
and the Goblin King, and then the Pile Driver would die.
oh, did he rip? He ripped incinerator. Or I mean, yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
yeah. So
That's a big deal.
that gets rid of the Yavimaya
Yeah,
Elder.
that's upside of keeping the Elder around there. It allows you to do that block.
Yeah,
But
I think that's what Jeff was hoping to do.
right, for sure. And then he's still going to get the lands next turn anyway. But if he doesn't really attack, it could kind of mana screw him a little bit.
Yeah, this is a very interesting block for Jeff. What he needs to do. Oh, so the Goblin King is not coming in. So he
Yeah,
could.
you got to assume the king is not coming in, right? He can't trade. Um,
Yeah,
so that's a pile driver. So the pile driver is huge. I think you have to just block pile driver with festering goblin and lackey with wall of roots and take one and then see
take
what
two.
happens.
Yeah, from yeah.
That seems pretty easy. And
Yeah,
now
I
he has
think
mana.
that's how I block
He
too.
clearly has a handful of Bloths and deranged hermits and shit because he's been stuck on 3 mana, and now he has the mana with the wall of roots to cast literally anything in his deck.
I
So
mean, if that's his hand, I think he would have sacked the Yavimaya Elder on his turn because he
just to
opted.
guarantee that he would get the lands.
Yeah, to get it. Well, because he missed a Jeff missed a land drop last turn.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think if he
Well,
has those
because
heavy hitters,
otherwise his thought process is just, well, he's going to attack me anyway. I'll block with the elder. I'll still get the lands, so it's no big deal. But if Felix doesn't attack and doesn't allow him to get the lands, I just don't know if not attacking there is even in the cards. Maybe it is. I guess not once he drew the incinerator. I wonder if Jeff White knows that his goblin's a 2/2. I bet he doesn't.
I mean, it's definitely not the most intuitive thing. So I would
No, we barely even know it's a goblin,
have.
let alone that Goblin King pumps it. Yeah, he must not know this because if you do realize that this block is pretty easy. Which again, I will never ever fault anybody for not knowing what cards do. I never know what they do. I never read them. I don't care about the nitty gritty and the idiosyncrasies of every rules interaction, every little thing. I just
Yeah.
kind of fumble my way through all my plays. So I'm not, this would be the pot calling the kettle black for a million reasons. If I got mad at people for doing that,
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out what's probably happening in this case.
So the pile driver came through. It looked like.
Yeah, the pile. So he didn't that exact thing that we said he didn't realize.
Okay.
Right? He sacked it to kill the lackey. I mean, why wouldn't? Oh yeah, because he just knows. He thinks that if he blocks the pile driver with the festering goblin, it won't die. That's what happened. And so now he's going to untap. He has 5 mana. He'll have an 0/4 wall and presumably some kind of beast. But now it's
Felix is getting flunky over here.
What's the best beast to play here? I guess it's got to be Deranged Hermit at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that it ties up your mana for 2 turns. I guess it doesn't. You can just let it die.
Right. Let it die and then play another bigger beast next turn, and then you have a pile of 1/1s. That Goblin King is doing the Lord's work here, though. That's really impressive.
Yeah,
Even though it's like one of the ugliest freaking Goblin Kings I've ever seen in my life.
well, it's
But
hard. It's hard to get a good-looking Goblin King. So unless you just
I don't
consider
know.
like
The
the
original Goblin King, he looks handsome isn't the right word, but there's just something about him. Maybe it's the nostalgia. But the original Alpha Goblin King, that little crown, he looks kind of cute. So this is 5. This is probably Deranged Hermit. Yeah, he has to take. Oh, he doesn't take any damage to do that. So this pretty much shuts down his attack completely this turn because he's not going to attack into a bunch of 2/2s.
yeah. Felix is it.
So I guess you just play Ringleader here and see what happens.
Yeah, the thing is,
And
you're almost okay with Deranged Hermit in the sense of it kind of gives you a turn to play the Ringleader.
yeah, exactly.
Because if you're not attacking anyways, then it kind of allows you to build up. Because he's opting for a Mogfanac that he just drew
To
the
kill
Hermit.
that, to allow him to attack this turn. How
Okay.
good is this attack? This attack is not that bad, actually. He's going to triple block the pile driver. He's going to.
Well, if you're attacking with the Lord,
He's
you
not
can.
attacking with the Lord, right? I can't
Okay.
imagine he is.
So then,
It's triple pile driver. It's probably chump, flunky, and it's block wall of roots with or block matron with wall of roots. My guess is his block.
I mean, if you have a deed in your hand, you could just only block. Okay, so I don't like this attack because you can go
Yeah,
double
you
block on the
you can
Lord, you can double block on the pile driver,
yes,
and single block on the
matron.
yeah, and
Take
then
four, take
okay,
four, go to four. But now it's just like you strand. You did it. You stranded the flunky, which is the dream. Although he does have a haste guy, I guess. But yeah, so that's exactly what he did. What? What?
wait, why? So he just okay.
There you go.
I would
Okay.
say maybe the blocks got split, but no. Okay,
All right. So he does have a factory back to block as well. And now that wall of roots is an 0-4 and can block a flunky. And he definitely has another 5 in his hand. Hopefully he has another forest. He does. He searched for 2 forests, so he can play whatever he draws. Um,
here's a Cabal
all right.
Therapy.
Cabal Therapy ringleader.
That's worth taking a damage.
For sure, for sure. And then God if he has a Beloth. No, he has a
You need to use the
I don't know. That feels really important. That counter feels really important, doesn't it?
yeah. Why is he opting? I
To
mean,
keep it back
it
as a
gives another
blocker
blocker.
in case he draws a war chief or something. But like even then, he can afford to take a war chief hit, right? Like
Yeah. Plus, well, the one thing about the manlands in Jeff Tech is Felix has 4 ports and 2 wastelands, I think. Like, he does have a lot of answers to the manlands. Felix isn't playing anything. What would be in his hand? I'm assuming he's not attacking from this board.
yeah. I don't think he can attack here.
And the cards you keep in your hand are Siege Gate Commander, Bomb Incinerator.
I mean, you probably just keep like a random mountain too. It
Okay.
feels the way he's holding it. It feels mountainy.
Yeah, chat. I don't think Felix has Naturalize in his main deck, so I don't think Naturalize is one of the cards he'd be holding.
Yeah, he doesn't have a main deck naturalized. I don't know. Given the way he's thinking, though, maybe it's not a mountain and it's an actual card, and he's just wondering should he play it or not.
I
It's
guess
nice knowing from Jeff too that he got rid of both of those siege gangs, right? I think he only has 2, and so
I think there's 3 if I'm
there's 3. You're right. So there's one more kicking around. All right, so he drew War Chief off the top.
okay.
Holy shit!
So
Just like we said, he can still take the 1. It's fine.
but this actually pays off for F's play in terms of keeping the Mistress Factory around
Yeah,
because he can block the Bailoff on the flunkies. He can
yeah.
activate.
He can block. He can block the War Chief with the
Yep, the
factory.
factory and pump
He can
it.
block all 3 here, kill
Yep.
everything but the matron.
Yeah, this is
And
a good sequence for Jeff
right.
because he's gonna lose everything but the matron, and all Jeff
Well,
loses
no,
is
yeah, exactly. He's gonna lose everything but the matron, and he's gonna still have a wall. He's gonna have everything left.
he just
Yeah,
lost a counter on his wall roots. That's all he lost.
right. Traded 1 counter to blow up his board. Now he has a 1/1, and now he can start attacking with that Beloth, and he's 4 turns away.
I think he's attacking with the factory too, probably.
Yeah, he's at 3. He can afford a War Chief off the top. So yeah, that's at least do it once to get the clock down to 2 turns. I'm sure it does feel like he has a 5-drop in it, another beast of some sort in his hand, or hermit.
Yeah,
But at this point, it's kind of academic. There's not a lot that he can draw off the top.
okay.
Yeah,
So
okay,
there's
this
a
is over.
blizzard. So
I guess you probably animate an attack, right? Just to get him down to a nice even multiple of 4.
yeah, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
like
then he's
I
taking
like
a
the aggressive
12,
play.
and he's I mean, he has to draw. I think he has to draw a ringleader here. This turn, that's his only chance.
Um, Goblin Matron can get another one drop, block two things. But yeah, it seems
All right, you
difficult
just got
for
to go.
Felix to come out of
Thanks
this.
for doing that quick, Felix.
He's having some grindy games, so.
Yeah.
And the
All right.
team comes
Um,
in,
Yeah,
lots of
this
he
is totally over.
oop, one, two, three. Yeah, I think this is all just all but done.
Yep.
So
Academic.
Yavimai Elder. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. There's a million power, and Jeff can gain a bunch of life.
It doesn't matter now.
So I'm guessing a Sieging Commander is coming down if Felix is still playing. I guess that allows him to live.
Oh, he ripped.
I think he had the Sieging in his hand and he drew a land.
I guess that slows things down a little. Wow, he drew land and the Case Siege Gang. That's just all that's going to do is cost us 4 minutes of our lives.
Well, let's see.
I guess Jeff's at 3.
Yeah,
Eh,
I mean, he does have a Bailoff, and if there's a deed here, you can just deed for 0.
yeah, which does smell. It's doing it. He's doing it real quick. So
Okay,
yeah, deed for 0. What's he at? 7. Yeah, that'll do it. Right,
makes
because he get
him.
attacked with everything. 8 get through.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I gotta run upstairs. Give me like 2 minutes, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so this attack's lethal. If Felix blocks the Blaster, he's still taking 8. So this is a best of 5. So we're just finishing the second game. So I'm going to talk about sideboarding. So if we look at Felix's deck, the cards he wants to bring in, the thing that's most appealing is the Caller of the Claw. It's a good uh, something to have in reserve against Pernicious Deed, so he can build up a board. I mean, there's only one copy, and he doesn't have any way to tutor for it. But that's the first card I would bring in. Uh, you could make an argument for Arms Dealer. So what Arms Dealer is a 2 and a red for a 1/1, and it's a goblin. It has an activated ability of 2 and a red or 1 and a red. Sacrifice a creature. It deals sacrifice a goblin. Sorry, it deals 4 damage to target creature. So that's something that as a goblin matron target he might bring in. It's kind of like a gem palm incinerator that doesn't draw you a card, but you could use over and over. And that's pretty good against the Bailoffs and Walls. I think I would bring that in. Those would probably be the 2 cards I'm looking at. I would take out the Goblin Vandal would be the first card I would take out, and then probably the Tinker because I don't think there are any artifacts that Jeff is really concerned with. So I think that's how I'd be boarding if I were Felix. So if we go over to Jeff's deck, um, he's got a little bit more exciting sideboard cards to bring in. So the 2 Engineered Plagues are the most important card. I guess Felix could bring in Naturalize in. Obviously, he's anticipating Engineered Plague because the deck lists are open. It is a very reactive answer, and it's just, uh, yeah. I guess that is a good point to bring in the second Lord as a way to combat the Engineered Plague. So I think the another Vendetta comes in and 2 Engineered Plagues are the cards I'd be most excited about for for Jeff, and I think I'd be looking at taking out Tutoress and maybe Cabal Therapy, maybe a Recurring Nightmare. So I think that's
All
how I would.
right.
So
You're talking about how they
yeah, I was talking about how they
sideboarded?
sideboard. So yeah, I think Jeff obviously gets a little bit more exciting because he gets to bring in two engineered plague and a vendetta. I think what I think he's bringing. Oh, there's a festering goblin too. He's going to bring that in. So there's
Yeah, for
four cards.
sure.
I think he takes out two duress for sure, and then the other cards
Yeah.
I'm kind of.
Yeah, the other card, I don't know. Maybe like recur.
I
I don't
said yeah,
know.
the first or one of the recurring nightmares. I said
Yeah.
thought, and then
I don't hate. I like having like clunky cards like that are medium. Like you never ever want to draw the second recur, right? And even drawing the first recur can be pretty bad in this matchup. So that seems right to me.
yeah,
And duress is terrible, even though it gets a little better when he's bringing in naturalizes, but it's just awful.
yeah,
And so he brings in. Let's see. Maybe he brings in the second king. I would imagine
yep.
he brings in some amount of this enchantment removal. Uh, Probably all of it.
The thing is like, I mean, I guess you have to, but I don't know. It just
Maybe not Hull Breach. Is Hull Breach an instant?
no, it's a sorcery.
All right, so definitely not Hull Breach, but um, yeah, at least three of them for like what? Probably the conscripts. I guess Vandal does
Vandal and
literal nothing.
Tinker, I think, are the worst cards.
Yeah, yeah. Jeff has literal no artifacts, so
Mishra's
Vandal Tinkerer
Factory. He can get a Mishra's Factory with the
with the
Tinker.
Tinkerer, right? So not with the Vandal, really. So Vandal's terrible. Yeah, maybe it's just you could still just take. Yeah, you kind of want to have Tinkerer around maybe to matron for if Jeff draws a couple of factories, right? That's
I
something.
I think it's just probably worse than the cards. Like I definitely wanted Caller the Claw. I feel like
Okay.
um that's a 3 mana 2/2 with flash, and when it comes into play, for each non-token creature that died that you controlled, you get a 2/2 bear token.
Oh yeah, I know.
So
I know what it does.
it's just
It's
insurance
the
against hit.
green.
Yeah.
It's the green Rotlung Reanimator.
Yeah. And then I talked about Arms Dealer as a potential. Do you know what that one does?
Yeah, it sacks a goblin to deal 4 damage, right? 2 mana activation cost.
Yeah, to do it to a creature.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. It seems decent here against Jeff's World of 4/4s, and you have a bunch of random goblins chilling around. Yeah, I don't hate that either.
Yeah.
Maybe you bring in. You definitely want the king too, so that's 6.
I mean, I don't. I mean,
Maybe you just bring
obviously,
in one or two of that. Maybe you bring in one Emerald Charm and one Naturalize.
I don't. I don't know the modes of Emerald Charm. It's destroy target global enchantment. Is that what it says?
Yeah,
And
yeah. So it's pretty much just like a 1 mana.
what are the other
That
modes?
untaps a permanent, or target creature loses flying.
Fine.
So basically nothing. Although Emerald Charm, I guess, could have randomly have an untap like with a sharpshooter or something. I don't know.
You could untap a Rishadan port to use it again to tap down two
Right,
man
right,
lands.
yeah. Or
Um,
untap. Like there's situations where like Jeff has a swinging for Xaxes but dies. If he doesn't win and he untaps a random blocker and chumps something.
yeah, I don't think that one's coming in, but
Well, no, but if it's better than naturalize, right? Like
no, because
it
oh, it doesn't get artifacts, right? It doesn't get a
doesn't get
Mishra's
factory.
Factory.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So
It
and Jeff
also
only really has.
you could make the
Yeah, maybe
argument if he's
naturalize is
bringing.
better because it's a hedge in case he doesn't draw plague and he can hit factory. So maybe you just bring in like 2 naturalizes, 1 king, 1 caller of the claw, and you shave Vandal, you shave like Malcon strips, maybe like a flunky, and maybe the Tinkerer or something.
You could make the argument of bringing the Emerald Charm, even if you're not bringing in all the naturalizers. Like one, it's good against Cabal Therapy if he's not going to name Emerald Charm,
Right.
and also the 1 mana might make a difference. I don't know if you're only
Yeah.
concerned about Engineered Plague, but it's pretty narrow.
Yeah. And Jeff does play the full 4 factories or only 3? Only 3 factories. Yeah, given 3 factories, I could totally see um uh hedging like that, bringing in the 1 Emerald Charm.
I mean, I don't think I would if I were sitting in Felix spot. Part of the reason is like we're just trying to find something to talk about, and I mean, I don't. I think you just would be like, oh, I'm just bringing in the naturalizes and wouldn't think about it. I think that's what I would do if I were
Well,
in
I think
Felix's seat.
I
But
mean I'm sure that the case of the Emerald Charm 99% of the time just blows up an enchantment, and so It's pretty much a naturalize here, so I easily could see him bringing it in just as a Cabal Therapy hedge. I think he's probably like 50-50 to have brought it in, honestly. It just depends on how he's played the deck more. I don't know how much he needs to just like hope to dodge Engineered Plague versus actually have answers for it, you know?
Yeah.
Like maybe he's just hoping to dodge it and not doing any of that shenanigans.
Or his plan
know?
could just be, I'm going to play a Goblin King preemptively and hope it lives. And
right, because he only has two plagues, right?
correct.
Yeah, so it's not like he could easily just not draw it. There's no card draw. There's no search, you know.
All right, so here's the moment of truth. Felix plays a turn 1 Lackey and a Festering Goblin.
Jeff, like, I mean, I've played a lot of matches against Jeff White over the years. Let me tell you a little story about Jeff. He always has it. Always. More than almost any person I've ever played Magic against in my entire life. He'll play like a horrible 6/6/6 mana base in limited, and just on turn 6, he has 2 of each lands in play. Like he always has it. He's one of the luckiest son of a bitches on this planet.
Well, I didn't pay attention during the Mulligans, but I think if Jeff doesn't have a Vendetta or a Festering Goblin, I think he needs to consider shipping it back. Because the Goblins deck with a potential turn 1 Lackey in the play, that is an easy way to lose. And so I think that's something you really.
Oh my god, if you get a therapy here and then sack back his Festering Goblin? Oh, this is just amazing.
So what do you name
here?
I think I named down War Chief in the dark.
War Chief? He plays 4 War Chiefs, obviously, right? So. Oh, but he didn't play a land.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I think I would name War Chief.
Yeah.
Because if he's tight on mana, I think the War Chief is something that kind of.
So now I think you just take the flunkies, kill the lackey, and just like really slow him down. It sounds crazy. This is the first time ever. You've seen it here first, folks. Somebody named Goblin Flunky with Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can get behind that. Yeah, because if he draws a land, then.
Assuming that Jeff has other shit to do, I'm assuming he has some walls and whatnot and things he wants to cast.
Yeah.
But like this really, really slows him down.
The thing is also, if he has a wall, are you even afraid of the Mog Flunkies? So if he drew a land and played a Mog Flunkies, he can attack for 2, you block with a wall. And then the next turn he has to play a Mog Flunkies, and you block with a wall and take 2. And then the next turn, if he doesn't have a land to play anything, he's not able to attack with the conscripts. He's not able to. I guess he can attack with both the flunkies. So you're then taking 3, but
right, you can attack with 2 flunkies on their own. So he's not therapying here. Okay, yes, he is.
I mean, if you're therapying now, I think you're naming flunkies.
Turn 1 Goblin into turn 2. Cabal Therapy is what dreams are made of against goblins, and.
Well, so Jeff is just as much a Goblins player as Felix.
Right.
2 Goblins, now they have 1.
Oh god, and he didn't, and you know, really, Mog Conscript is showing its true colors here as well. You know, like of vanilla. Like if that was an actual 2/2.
I mean, I think it's more the fact that he only has 1 land. I think is probably the bigger issue. But.
All right, so this one, I feel like he probably has 1 turn to draw a land here before the door gets shut, and even then, it's going to be tricky. Which is good because my kids have all started their virtual learning, and I pretty much said, "Yeah, open it up and figure it out, guys. I'll be up in a while." Yeah, you know it's bad when Jeff's attacking with his Festering Goblin on turn 5. You know.
All right, there's a land, but
Step one is draw a land.
But so here's where we kind of talked about Jeff's deck not closing as quick, that it could come back to bite him. But yeah. I mean, he still hasn't had like a turn with 4 mana untapped.
This is his first turn where he's going to have access to a bunch of mana, and like you know, he has 8 beasts and he has like 10 expensive good cards that he can cast at this point. All right, that's something.
Goblin?
That's not the worst start. That is definitely, you know, how this starts is play a land, make a reasonable play this turn, play another land, play a War Chief, play a ringleader. That's really like the only way out here.
Yeah, it's not a super high impact play, but I mean, what is he gonna do? 2 mana that
Right, because the
tie
only
with
other
him.
cards he has really, because his flunkies are gone now, are pile drivers. Like it's probably better than playing a pile driver.
Yeah. So if he chose to kill the Western Goblin as compared to the Yavimaya Elder there, does that mean anything?
That's a good question. It probably means that I mean, he has a million X2s in his deck, right? And eventually that Festering Goblin will kill an X2, absent King. So maybe he just has Pile Driver and or War Chief. And I mean, he has Ringleader literally in his hand, although killing a Ringleader isn't very impressive.
So Jeff's getting aggressive here. He's attacking with the
Fully agree with this play. I'm assuming he probably even has another wall or something back. Is he going to trade with the Elder? No sack. Oh, you can't sack. No damage on the
no,
stack
yeah, no
anymore.
stacking
Okay.
damage. So
Yeah.
Jeff gets a forest and another forest. So
Yeah, that's fine. He didn't play a land yet. I just don't know how many cards are in his hand at this point. We guess we could count them because he's played a lot of early spells, so he doesn't have a lot of cards kicking around at this.
yeah, but Felix does draw ult hand. So that's I'm assuming that's the best thing he could have drawn.
Oh, you're ahead of me a little bit. Okay.
Are you watching the whereby? Or are you watching the stream?
I'm watching the whereby. Where should I be watching?
Oh, the whereby I think will have less lag. So I didn't
Okay.
I didn't realize that. I thought we would be in sync. I didn't,
You're like I don't know, maybe 5 seconds ahead of me or something. It's no
okay.
big deal. I will say that Jeff's basic lands are way better than Felix's. Felix looks like he just went to the land box circa, for like a side draft circa 1998 and just pulled out random lands.
I think they're foiled. I think is what Felix has. I think
Oh, they're foiled.
that's a
Even
seventh
even
edition
grosser.
forest that's foiled. So I do like that Arcadian Mountain though. That's one of my favorites. But yeah, I do
Which
prefer that
mountain?
the the one that's closer to his Goblin Matron.
Okay,
I like
because
that
I,
one.
I I don't hate the other mountain. I'm really a sucker for lands that say tap
Oh, okay.
to add something to your mana pool. The ones with the big mana symbol on the bottom and just that aren't really for me.
Yeah, I started a little bit later, so I guess I have a
It's
little
more
bit less
nostalgic.
nostalgia for
Yeah.
the. I mean, I like them fine, but all right. So the 2 manlands are coming in. Uh, Felix looked like he blocked and then unblocked. I don't know if he forgot
I
about trample or something. I don't.
Yeah, he probably forgot about trample. Yeah.
I guess they're backing up.
So then unblock, and this is a pretty crucial turn. Can he draw another land?
Because if he's not pressuring Jeff, then Jeff's gonna just keep attacking.
Right.
I mean, he has a war chief for sure. That's always an option.
All right. I guess it's not the worst option if you didn't draw a land. You can play War Chief and next turn do some sort of shenanigans.
Yeah. Can we see how many cards are in Jeff's hand?
I can't. He hasn't cast stuff in a while though. I'm guessing 3.5 is my guess.
I can't see I just see one blob, and I don't know if they're stacked or not.
No, there's definitely a stack.
Okay.
It's probably 3. It could be 4. We know one of them is a forest. He played a swamp over a forest that last turn, I guess. Right? Didn't he search for 2 forests? I'm pretty sure.
Yes, he did.
Unless he switched that out at some point.
So, so he didn't have a swamp in play at that point. He had.
I think he had treetop,
Okay.
city,
I think you're right.
factory. Yeah.
So here we see the war chief. I don't. I mean, attacking's not great, but blocking is also not great. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what you want to do here. Send. Oh,
Is he going to Vendetta the War Chief?
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's really
I guess
bad.
he's going to take three either way. But yeah, that's definitely what he wants. Oh, he's going to take
That's
four, I guess.
basically a time walk
Yeah,
for one man.
and from this spot, that's exactly what Jeff wants because he can just make the same play, attack for five again, and
He can attack for more if he draws another. Oh no, we can't. We can attack with both three
oh,
tops, I
oh
guess.
yeah, 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 and that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
Oh,
so that's 6. Puts him at 4. Leaves the City of Brass untapped to bluff, all sorts of shenanigans. Which I guess at this point is literally just Vendetta, but he's up to 4
no,
now.
there's probably a third festering goblin that was brought in. So,
Yeah,
I guess you wouldn't bluff that. That's not coming into play at instant speed.
right. But that'd be a nice play. Attack with both treetops and play the Case Festering Goblin. That'd be a lovely turn.
Yep. So two treetops are coming in. But this
Yeah,
is going to make
like
it pretty
six
difficult.
trample coming in next turn. I actually think this might just be over.
Yeah, I think
Even if he plays Ringleader, it just doesn't matter,
Mog
right?
Flunkies is like the best thing to answer a treetop village.
Yeah, but thankfully Jeff cleared the board
Yeah.
a few turns ago. That crucial turn 1, turn 2 Cabal Therapy of Mog Flunky, the first time it's ever happened in the history of the universe.
I'm glad we could be together to be part of that.
We're witnessing history here.
Creating memories together.
Yeah. Yeah, so this now, when Jeff lost the first game, I admit I didn't respect the Goblins deck enough and its ability to just like create card advantage and grindiness,
Yeah.
and I thought maybe my percentage was off, but it seems like now he's going to be up 2-1, and he gets way better after board, right? Like
Yeah, I
there's
agree.
no way about it. He definitely gets maybe not way better, but he's certainly even better positioned after board
I agree.
with those legs. Now he can attack with everything, right? So that's just it.
Yeah.
Oh no, does he have enough mana to do that? 1, 2. Yeah, he can attack with everything.
Yeah.
6 trample. Yeah, that's game.
Yep. Because yeah, Matron could block a factory, and then Pile Driver could block
Right.
treetop village, trample for one plus the other three.
And there's no 1 mana cards he could have, right?
The only card that Felix could have is if he brought in Pyrokinesis.
Pyrokinesis. Jesus Christ, that would be a fucking blowout.
And I guess I mean it's a reasonable card to bring in. That was not one that we talked about.
Right.
But
You can't shave too much of your Goblin engine here, and it does feel like that's kind of. I think he's going for it. There's no way he has Pyrokinesis.
Yeah, I mean, I would go for it.
That's exactly what he's thinking right now. He's like, well, if he has Pyrokinesis, or he also might be thinking like, maybe I'll save this factory. Actually, even if he has Pyrokinesis, it doesn't matter because he still has to chump block a ton of shit.
Yeah, I mean, you're still in good shape. It would deal 1 damage
Right.
to the factory and 3 to a.
Because he can't 2-for-1 the creatures. If he had 2 factories, it'd be a different story. But
He would be able to kill a factory in a treetop village and then take 1 from a treetop and lose his pile driver and his matron.
Right, and he still has to deal with the other one. So it's just like, yeah. And he's only 3% who have brought it in, and 5% who have drawn it. So
yeah, and from that spot, like it wasn't like it would have to be the last card he just drew because he would have cast it the turn before.
Right, that's a great point too. Right, so he literally had to rip it off the top. So he was only 1 out of 60. He's 1.66% to actually have drawn it, given he sideboarded in. So feels like a safe attack.
Yeah. All right, so we're definitely thinking that Jeff. I mean, yeah, he has all the tools to deal with Felix. I think the only way is if Felix can steal a quick win with Goblin Lackey, but Jeff can mulligan to get one of those, either a Festering Goblin or a Vendetta to prevent.
So I think that's one of the most interesting things here. What if Jeff just has 3 lands, a deed, a wall, a Beloth, and whatever, a Blastoderm or something? Can you keep that hand? on the on
I
the draw.
think the only way I would keep that is if Felix like really thinks about his hand, and you don't think that he's like acting, and if you just are gonna say, okay, I'm putting him not on like because usually if you have a lackey in your hand, it's usually either unless it's like a one land that you might have to think about. Okay, is this good if the lackey
Well, because
dies?
that might be fester for pun intended. That thought might be festering in his mind, right? Because that's what happened last game. He
Yeah,
kept a one lander lackey draw and got it vendetta and got blown out.
yeah,
So like maybe he is double, thinking about that a little bit at this point, and maybe him thinking could indicate that he's on this one land lackey draw again. I just don't know. It's only 4 lackeys.
yeah.
And if you don't have a siege gang or a ringleader to go with it, it's not that insane. So like I don't know. I just don't know. I really honestly don't know the answer how aggressive you can be mulliganing to those cards at this point when he
I
only has 4 of them.
I would say I would mulligan, but I
Okay.
know I
So if you had
aggressively
just like
mulligan.
a pretty good draw with lands and spells and like a good mix of things, but none of those 1 mana lackey killers on the draw here, you're mulliganing.
I don't know. It's
You might be right.
I
I'm
say
not questioning you at all. I am literally questioning you because I don't
well,
know the
I
answer.
say it as a caster, but like I think if I'm in that position, it's hard to mulligan like a good hand. Like that's
I
just
know.
like that has answers and yeah, you have a weakness, but like you
And
said,
given
there's
the
only four
weakness is
lackeys.
only 4 cards that he has to have in his opening draw. If you're on the play, it's way different, right? Because he can play 1,000 walls as well
Agreed, agreed.
as blockers. All right, we're gonna see what we're gonna
Okay.
see what happened. I think he's 4 for 4 in lackeys, honestly.
Well, I mean I don't think Felix has had a mulligan, but that is a card that you
Oh
just
God, it's
aggressively mulligan.
happening. This is
Okay.
exactly as we just called it. This is perfect content.
Okay. DJ Commander.
Oh, he missed his trigger. Too late. What is this? Is this? He's thinking hard, so it's not siege gang, right? So it's probably matron or ringleader. I mean,
It could be ringleader
probably
or war
matron
chief.
for siege gang next turn.
Oh, okay,
All right, that's actually one of Jeff's best possible results. No
great.
matron, no ringleader, no war,
Well,
no.
the thing is, like, if he has land, he could play a matron. No,
Oh, you're right, because of war chief's ability. Yep,
yeah.
yep. Good call.
So I was gonna say, depending on how much he's shuffling, I guess maybe he's not doesn't have a matron right here.
Hopefully, because
I
that
mean,
would be
it
rude
could
otherwise.
be a second war chief too. Oh, a goblin king. Okay.
It's a king, so now he has plague protection.
Yep.
Jeez.
But Jeff's really under the gun here. Like him showing that he like you would lead with black mana. I would if you had it. Well,
I mean, whatever. He's not gonna make it. The play is not gonna be different, right? From Felix, he's attacking no
that's
matter
true.
what.
You would
But like, he clearly has a wall. If he kept a hand with no vendettas, no festering goblins, and no walls, then that's just atrocious. So he definitely has a wall here to at least block the lackey, but he's still going to take a bunch of damage.
yes. And and that's not even that's just from the board. He'd be taking 5 because he's going to block the
Right,
lackey
because now he can literally play a ringleader off the top
or
and
pile
attack
driver. If
for
he has
7.
land, he could matron into a pile driver, and he could be attacking for ton.
Yeah, right. He can literally just play matron into with land matron pile driver attack for 1,000,000. Basically, almost have to jump at that point because that would be a 9/1 pile driver.
I think it's 10-10-2 or 10-3 because of the
Is it
Goblin
10? What
King.
is pile driver plus?
It's a
Oh yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
two plus
No,
keeper
no,
spell. So
it's
it would
always
be a
odd,
base
right?
2-3 because of the Goblin King. Then it'd
Oh,
be a
because the
plus
Goblin
4.
King.
So
You're
it'd
right.
be
It's 10 power. Yeah, yeah. Well, either way, it's enormous
yes.
and demands to be dealt with. So at this point, Jeff is just hoping to hang around and not die and be able to play presumably a deed that's in his hand.
Here's a ringleader.
So just ringleader could be worse, but he's going to probably get the siege gang right here. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we got matron for siege gang next turn.
Matrons, what is that?
I think that's pile driver. 2 matrons and a pile driver, I think.
I don't think it's a pile driver. I think it's a goblin vandal. Oh no, it's a no,
Sharpshooter.
no, it's a pyromancer. Oh, I didn't realize that was in his list. So what that card is, it's a 4 mana, 3 and a red for a 2/2. When it comes into play, all goblins get +3/+0, and then at the end of turn, destroy all goblins.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like your one shot, your overrun.
Yeah. Also, if you have Skirk Prospector, then you can sack it, and if it's not around at the end of turn, then your goblins don't
Ooh,
die.
that's so sweet little interaction.
So I think Jeff has to block the Goblin Lackey and then take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And be facing a potential pyromancer next turn. Or whatever he can matron for anything next turn. And just I don't think it has to be swamp here. Vendetta something, or I guess maybe play. Oh, actually, Festering Goblin's terrible now because of King, and play another wall, preferably a Wall of Roots, and that would allow him to deed with maybes to deed and activate it next turn because he would have 6 mana. That's the only thing I could think of here. Swamp, Wall of Roots.
Well, the thing is, though, Felix always has the option to matron for a pile driver. I mean, I guess the Pyromancer is probably more damage. Okay,
Right, because all those guys are going to have haste now.
I mean, you could. He has another land. He could get a Jump Home Incinerator. I don't. I mean, there's lots of options that he has, and they all look
Right.
good for Felix. So
Right, exactly. They all look good, and he presumably. I mean, I know he knows his deck better than I do, and I don't know how much experience you have with goblins, but he's the one in the top 8, so he probably knows, what all of his potential lines are here. They're all, but as you said, they're all pretty great. He's at 11, so he probably doesn't have another land.
yeah,
But he could still, if he let's just think about some lines. If he matrons for pile driver and brings the team, what happens there?
Oh, so there's a land.
Oh God, Wasteland's just So let's say he does that. So that's 6 goblins coming out.
Well, so from this spot you could matron first. Oh, I guess that doesn't really do that. I was gonna say you could matron for Skirk Prospector, and then play the other matron, but that doesn't really net you too much. Um,
I think if you matron for pile driver and attack with everything, he has to block the pile driver with the Beloth, and you're still going to take.
All right.
It might actually just be dead, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You might
For 9, I think.
Yeah.
He,
and he could also wasteland him too.
Oh, he got Jump Home Incinerator. I like Pile Driver and Wastelanding the factory.
I think so too, because then he can wasteland the factory. He's going to be on 3 mana next turn, which means he can't deed for anything really.
Yeah, you lose the Pile Driver, and then he probably takes 10 because he probably block a lackey as
right.
compared to black.
And goes to literal 1 against a full board with 3 mana in play. Yeah.
Jeff gained 4 from the Baloth.
Well, he wouldn't have if he had to block the.
Well, you would just not kill the Pile Driver, but.
Or I guess he could just chump the pile driver.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess because you're the only card you. I mean, I think the only card that gets him out of here is Deed, and I don't even know if he has time for that. But yeah, the Wasteland would really prevent that. So
yeah, right. Wastelanding that factory feels so amazing right now. I would think.
Yeah.
And
but the most you can Deed for is 1, 2, 3, 5, or for 2.
You can deed for 2, but that doesn't even do anything.
Yeah.
We can play a Deranged Hermit, I guess. Buy time to be able to deed for 3 next turn.
Not with the Matron in play. Can you just get a Sharpshooter?
Right. Yep. He has the other Matron.
Yeah, so I would just.
He can also. He's at 4. He can also just do a cool play and actually use the Pyromancer and just.
Okay, he might do that. I mean, if it's in your deck, you want to play it. So.
Right. Exactly, because he's tapped out. He's probably going to get Sharpshooter because it's whatever. Can he do them both? No, he doesn't have enough mana to do both. He could put the Pyromancer into play off of the Lackey's ability. That's what he should do. Just for fun.
All right.
All right. He's scooped. Okay. All right. Game 5. Jeff on the play. So that was I guess, we have one data point now, but
Yeah.
your intuition was right in that you pretty much have to mulligan a hand that can't deal with a turn one lackey.
I mean, like I said, I think it's hard when you're looking at like a solid hand, but it's just sometimes you look at a hand and you say, what does this lose to? And it's it's the thing that Felix is looking for most is that turn one lackey. It's
I
the most.
guarantee I guarantee that what Jeff was thinking there was this fucking guy drew lackey 3 games in a row on the play. There's no way he has it a fourth time. I'm keeping this. I guarantee that's what he said.
Well, I mean, I think just from one opening hand, I think you're 40% to see a four of in your deck. So
Yeah, it's something. I feel like it's maybe a smidge below that, but it's you're like 2-1 or something. I mean, you to be honest, you probably done. I haven't done those numbers in a long time because in old school we go on feel. We don't go on percentages.
I do like
But
math, so
right,
we were talking about land drops in Sly, and I took out the hypergeometric calculator and was
yeah.
giving percentages in terms of.
So is that right though? Are you confident in 40% to have a four of have one of them in your opening draw?
I think it was between 40 and 42%.
Okay,
I
so call it
haven't.
40.
I think it's
Yeah.
just a stat that I've seen. I guess I haven't technically done the math myself.
Yeah, that feels. I mean, it just feels a smidge high to me, and I feel like the last time I looked at that, which was many years ago, I'm remembering a lower number, but like
Yeah, I agree. It feels high, and I think that's part of why I think stats are good because it's your
Yeah.
intuition. Even playing Magic for 20 years, you think you would have a good feel of what your odds of drawing a four of in your opening hand. And,
Yeah.
and even human bias still isn't able to really come up with that number.
Yeah, that's a great example of bias if that number's right, because it definitely if I did not know the number or have any clue about what the number was and I had to bet on that, I would definitely take the under by a bunch.
Mhm.
And I would have got run over. Jeff is a nice quick shuffler. Did he even pile? I don't even know if he piled.
I don't pile anymore.
I can't get out of my system. I have at least gotten to the point where I don't double pile.
Okay.
But I have to pile. Like if I don't pile, I can't even draw my hand. I don't feel right.
So when I got into Magic, I got into like competitive Magic pretty quick, but it was through like watching. I watched one of the world championships like on a webcast.
Yeah.
And I remember like seeing them pile shuffling, and I that's why I pile shuffled this because the pros did it. It's so ridiculous. So like that was what I would do. But and then there were different like over my watching the Pro Tour, there are different like styles of pile shuffling in terms of how like the order you do it, or like the Japanese had like a very distinct way of doing it. Like they're very quick and they'd use both hands and like go from the inside out and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so I guess I never got that one down, but I know that was one thing I would. And then I think after Wizards made an official statement that like pile shuffling is not real shuffling. Basically, that's what they said, that you still need to sufficiently shuffle after doing a pile shuffle. I stopped doing it. I think, and part of it was because the people I saw stopped doing it too. But
people still do it, but they actually came out and banned the second pile.
Okay.
You literally are not allowed to pile shuffle twice.
Yeah, they enforced a rule that you can only do it once per game.
Once per game, because you can count your deck, before you present. That's the logic behind it, which is reasonable. But I thank them for throwing us old timers a bone who just like I literally cannot play a game of Magic without piling once. So Felix mulligans on the draw. Looks like a double mulligan. All right. So what are the odds? So what are the odds? What are Jeff's odds in the dark 7v7 if they both keep in this sideboarded matchup? I think he's probably like 64% to win if they both keep and Jeff's on the play, something like that.
I think I might actually even be higher for Jeff. Like
right. Let's call it 70. And that's 7-on-7. And so if he mulligans once, that probably takes it down a smidge, but not too bad. Maybe takes it down to, let's call it 5%.
Mhm.
That second, this is not linear though. That second mulligan is a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
So like, what do you think he's down to now? Or I mean, takes it up to 75%.
Yeah,
What
and
do you
part of the
think he's
reason,
at now?
like,
80 plus?
part of the reason I agree, it is a significant. Yeah, probably if I had to guess. And the thing is against, like, let's say a combo deck, or maybe even like blue white. Well, I guess blue white still has sorts of postures, but a deck that can't kill a lackey, mulliganing isn't as big of a deal because if you're just trying to find that turn one lackey and put like a siege king into play, it doesn't matter that you've mulliganed to five.
Right.
But Jeff's deck is like a grindy trade card for card thing, and if
Right.
Felix is mulliganing your five, that hurts him a lot more.
No, that's a perfect way to put it, and that's kind of why I'm thinking that this mulligan, matters a lot more in this matchup.
Hmm.
Um, and like he's got to be up in that 85. We'll call it 85.
Yeah.
He very confidently kept and just has his hand sitting there now. So I'm fully expecting turn one Festering Goblin.
Yeah, I
Like,
think especially just after like we talk about kind of like the mindset or like the human bias. I think even if you had a good hand again, but didn't have an answer to that lackey, and again, he's on the play, so he can play a lot more cards.
yeah.
But I think you would definitely second guess your hand just given the way that the last game went.
All right. So triple mulligan now. What's Jeff at? 88%?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I, I guess I don't
Even
know.
if he has lackey, if he has mountain lackey,
The
he
difference
has
between
to
four and
also
five
have a good
probably isn't
card
as
to go
big.
with it.
Yeah, the difference between four and five probably isn't as big because
Yeah.
the games that you win on five are probably pretty similar to four, but I don't know.
It does seem like there's a cusp between a first mulligan and second mulligan, right? Going from 6 to 5 is a big deal, and somehow going from 5 to 4 doesn't seem like as big a deal. Again, this is probably just human bias,
Yeah,
but I feel that's at least how my intuition
I would
is
agree.
telling me.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for Goblins fans.
No, I feel because I actually need this because I talked this up so much. Jeff's 98%. I mean, obviously that's hyperbole. Like Team Sped is known for being the most hyperbolic team in the world. But I can't have him lose a match after I proclaim him to be 98% to win, right? That would just be embarrassing. That would just kill my brand, basically.
Well,
So
on paper, I thought the first two games would just be slam dunks, and
right. I mean,
the first game
98% is
was
obviously high, but like he's a monster favorite here,
yeah, the
right?
first the first game was way closer than I thought.
And right, he also didn't sack that blaster. Like he didn't know what his cards did, and that might have actually mattered, right? Like he
Yeah,
could have just won game one. Remember, he like
yeah.
didn't sack the Derm to the Beloth to gain life, and
Mhm.
all right, looks like he's no. Is he shuffling?
I mean, I can't imagine what a three card hand you would want. Yeah,
Mountain Lackey ringleader.
sure. Oh, yeah, and just
Easy
hope
peasy.
that lackey gets in there over and over and over.
Right, right. Maybe Jeff didn't learn his lesson last time. It does, all this is moot because I guarantee Jeff's going to go first turn Festering Goblin, second turn Wall of Roots, third turn Beloth, and it's just over. He always has it. The confidence that he laid his hand down is signifying that he definitely has it this time. So like, I'm actually willing. I don't think. I guess like I don't know. 99 to 1, maybe I would take Felix, but like I'm not taking him. I don't want 20 to 1 on Felix here. I really don't.
Yeah, he's trying to shape his hand and figure out what because he still hasn't put the ones on the bottom, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, it's tough. Like, yeah, it's like when you have such few resources to work with, you don't want to really get rid of anything. I mean, I would even consider like if your hand had a lackey that you might just put it on the bottom and just keep
Right.
like
And just
so
hope to keep your grindy cards. Keep like two ringleaders and two mountains or something.
yeah, three mountains and a goblin matron or something,
Right, right.
and just hope to grind it out.
I think you have to at this point because your lackey is so likely to die.
Yeah. Or just once if you keep a hand that's so dependent on lackey, if that gets removed or doesn't do anything, then your hand's just significantly worse. Like if you're missing land drops then and like then you're not
Right.
able to cast your spells that you draw on time,
So I guess we could talk about the only way that he wins this game is, apart from unkilled lackey, is something like what you just said, keeping a couple lands and grinding a matron
Mhm.
into a ringleader while Jeff like floods out or something.
Yeah, I think
That's
that's
like
Felix's best
probably
route.
the only way.
Mhm.
Looks like Jeff got up. What a surprise. He puts his hand down, gets up, comes back to the game 8 minutes later to find his opponent triple mulliganed. Vintage, quintessential Jeff White right there. Oh, you triple mulliganed? Oh, how lucky.
Yeah. Felix might be checking. Yeah, I didn't have the audio on from them, so I don't know if he said something with it. He needed a
I
little
don't know
bit.
either, but I haven't seen anything move. And I know he has two toddlers and a 1 month old. So just getting this match in at all is pretty impressive on his part.
Uh, Felix was asking if he was good to go. He said he grabbed a glass of water, but so as long as Jeff's here, then yep, we're good to
Yeah,
go.
he's here.
All right, so it's the moment of truth.
Let's see. Festering Goblin. It's got to be there. Let's see what land he lays. Oh, I was wrong.
Yeah, but he still has the outs for the land
Oh
and
yeah,
the
like I'm
wall.
sure he
So
has another land and a wall, so the lackey is still taken care of. But
also maybe on the draw, like which card is that?
that's Wall of Blossoms. That is
Okay.
a Wall of Blossoms that he put up as a prize. So last year at Eternal Weekend, we ran like a Tempest block draft event with like 12 people, three or four 3-man teams. It was team like sealed plus draft. It was a very cool event that Jeff organized, and he put up prizes for it. And one of them was a Wall of Blossoms that like got stamped and signed, by a bunch of people in the tournament and stuff. So that
Okay.
was a prize for that
All right. Yeah,
event.
I can see the writing on it, but it looks like there's some orange or whatnot, and then
There's
I
a stamp. There's a stamp that
okay.
he made. He calls it like the retro draft series or something. We're planning to do this every once in a while at these big tournaments. At MobsterCon last year, he ran actual just Tempest block limited as well.
Okay.
So he's a big fan of drafting these old sets as we all kind of are.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got a stamp made for like whatever he called it. I forgot what it is. Some kind of retro draft series or something.
Okay. Yeah, I always like those type of like homemade tournament kind of things. I
Yes.
have a series that I do with some of my local friends, and yeah, it's always a lot of fun. So I mean, this start from Felix, like if Jeff doesn't have black mana, that then Felix can kind of develop. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a way you
Or if
can.
Jeff doesn't have another mana, like this is exactly how it needs to go for Felix. Okay, I'll take 20-1 now if
Okay.
you're offering it. He drew. Oh, he still
That's a
doesn't have black
factory.
mana.
Okay.
But still, so like Jeff is like dirtling and like basically doing nothing, and yet he still has 3 0-4s on the table against like an insane aggro deck. So
Yeah.
it's like he's still in fine shape, even though he's done essentially nothing.
Yeah. The one thing is just, I mean, given time, I don't feel safe with O4s against goblins just because
Yes.
I know it's possible for them just to build up a board to either go wider from them or they can just have a really exciting turn. It could be with that Goblin Pyromancer that we saw last game in his hand
Right.
that it can make everything 4 power and your blocking doesn't do so much when your walls die. So Felix has choices, it seems. So I guess that's good from his perspective that he's able to got to think about what he needs.
So how many cards does he have left in his hand? Still 3? Yeah.
Think so. Okay, here's a
All right,
matron.
step 1. This is exactly what we said. He can matron for. I guess he can't play a ringleader. He could.
Yeah, pile driver. So he's just from this spot he's getting aggressive.
Yeah, I
The
think I
thing
would
is,
just trade the factory for the pile driver here,
I
unless
would
he has.
I might trade it for the with the war chief.
Oh no, he just
Oh,
he
wasteland is
wastelanded
denied
it.
on the option. Okay.
Yeah.
So the pile
All right.
driver is a 5/2. So you definitely block the other two. Question is, do you chump block the pile driver?
It depends on what's in his hand. I think that there's a reasonable chance he does. Yeah.
Looks like he does. But no damage. He loses a wall of blossoms.
Right. He really needs that black mana here.
Okay. So now the Llanowar Waste is here and the Wasteland's gone. So
So that was that factory was just bait for the wasteland.
it's totally possible. I mean, it was something I thought about. I was thinking if City Brass was the other card, but yeah, Llanowar Waste would have had the same line you could take. So a Festering Goblin comes down.
And now he has an untapped treetop to block with if necessary, a bunch of very solid blockers, and looks like somehow Felix is flooding. Like last game, he drew one land or whatever, with his 7-card hand, and now he drew 4 in his 4-card hand. Variance is a fickle thing in Magic.
But I mean, the Goblin deck isn't too like you want to have 5 mana in play though, because I mean, it makes he has matrons and ringleaders and siege gang commanders that are all good draws. So having the mana isn't the worst thing for Felix.
It's way better than like if he were just like a traditional slide deck.
Yes.
But it's just funny though how like he can draw a 7-card hand and play 2 lands all game, and in a 4-card land he's already played 5 lands.
Yeah.
So he has 2 cards. He can play literally any card in his deck. But now he can't really attack with much at all, unless he has Incinerator. He really kind of needs an Incinerator. Yeah, so he has to say go. That's horrible for him. Now Jeff's whole deck is turned on. Like he like almost certainly has a deed.
Or it could be an Engineered Plague.
He isn't like that great right now, but
Engineered Plague I think could be the other card that he has. Oh, no,
right, why he's so confidently kept. Would he have played Festering Goblin last turn over Engineered Plague?
Oh, yeah. Well, if he played Engineered Plague, it would kill his own goblin, but then he could finish off a War Chief.
Right, this turn. Right, but last turn.
I guess he could have done it. He would have done it last turn. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now he's really. What does he really need here? Sharpshooter.
Felix need? Yeah, Sharpshooter. Matron into Sharpshooter or Sharpshooter.
Right, with haste. I mean, the War Chief, yeah. Matron here is fine, or with another land, Ringleader into Sharpshooter does something. Okay, right. Matron into Sharpshooter. That blows up the whole board.
Yeah.
And that actually blows up the Festering Goblin, too, which can't kill the War Chief now. Yeah. Because it can't block and kill.
Yeah, you lose your...
You lose your Sharpshooter, but like... All right.
Yeah, I think...
So that's actually insane. And now he's going to get to attack again with all of his guys.
And the pile driver is big, yeah. And the War Chief sticks around. So yeah, this is not looking bad for Felix.
No, this is like he's almost a favorite at this point. He might even be a favorite.
Yeah.
Now, I guess if Jeff has but he still has 2 cards in his hand. If Jeff even has land, deed, blow up everything, I don't even know how mad I am.
Kind of in the spot of like Goblins has 4 mana and it can draw Ringleader, Siege Gang.
Yeah.
There's only 2 matrons left, but it's not a terrible situation for the Goblins when the board gets clear and you're just playing card advantage game
yeah, exactly.
So because if Jeff doesn't have that pressure, I mean he has some man lands, then like it's going to give Felix time to draw threats. So yeah, we see.
Right.
Yep.
Everybody attacks.
Sharpshooter.
Oh man.
Yep. Killed the Festering Goblin.
Right, just like we thought. That went exactly as we thought. So he's going to block a War Chief and probably block a Pile Driver because that's a ton of damage.
I think so, yeah. Just going to take 2.
Yeah, and he's probably going to play Deed and blow it up. I mean, really, if he doesn't do that, he's just dead for the most part.
I think Engineered Plague is okay here.
Oh yeah, Engineered Plague. Yeah, that's kind of the other deeds 5 and 6.
Three mana.
This is deed.
That's a recurring nightmare.
Recur. All right,
So
so he gets back. That's
the
actually
Drain Tournament.
pretty
And
great.
he can get back. He can get
And
this
then he can just
Festering Goblin
sacrifice.
loop.
Right? Do you just sacrifice the hermit now to get back festering goblin? Probably. I don't even know if you do. No, maybe
You,
you want to keep that treetop around.
you could do a Wall of Blossoms as well.
Right, or wall blossoms just to draw a card. Yep, wall blossoms. He takes the damage. He has a bunch of 1/1 blockers now, but they're actually pretty awesome now. And now you know sharpshooter's gone, and he only has one sharpshooter.
Okay. Yeah, so we talked about grinding in terms of the Goblin deck's good at it. This is a spot where Jeff's deck, with for not a particularly a lot of mana, like 3 mana for a recurring nightmare, he's really affecting the
Oh yeah,
board. So
this the percentages are flipping.
yes,
Jeff was 90% to win on turn one. On that last turn that just happened, Felix was like 60% to win, and now Jeff is like 80% to win.
yeah,
This is crazy. You know, like the meter on the bottom of like feature matches for Pro Tours and stuff.
yeah, just swinging back and forth.
Yeah. Oh man, Goblin King is like so good for him right here.
Lackey, okay.
Goblin Lackey is not, but King is exactly what he needed. So now he has to triple block Pile Driver.
I think you just jump it.
Oh, because he's going to bring back a million guys with his Deranged Hermit next turn. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you chump Pile Driver. You just chump 4 things,
Um,
and then block the 5th thing or whatever, and then
think so.
take no damage. Well, you need 1 creature in play to recur
Yeah,
with,
right.
so you can't do that. Oh no, you'll still have the Wall of Blossoms.
Yeah, the wall will. I block the. I don't. Do I block the lackey? I think Felix only has 1 card in hand. Maybe saving a point of life is better. I don't know.
Well, 2 points of life. Yeah,
Well,
and every
you'd
one
be
of those
blocking it.
1/1s that sticks around is going to matter because eventually that Hermit is going to stay in play and make them all 2/2s.
I mean, you're either blocking War Chief or lackey with the wall, right? So it's one extra point you'd save.
Oh yeah, sure.
But yeah, Jeff does have a lot of options in terms of how he could block. It looks like he's looks if he's holding 3 together, I think that means that he's blocking the Pile Driver.
I know this timing is terrible. I'm going to be back in 2 minutes. Okay.
That sounds good. So the text came in. The looks like Jeff opted to block the War Chief to get that off the table. So he took 5, and now he's left with a Wall of Blossoms, and we know he has a recurring nightmare. So he can definitely make a lot of blockers. He's not always. I mean, he can maybe make a little ground every time that he blocks, but with the Goblin King in play, all the goblins or all the squirrels don't kill as many goblins as without the Lord. So a Ravenous Bala comes down, and then a recurring nightmare that's going to get rid of the Wall Blossoms, and in comes the Deranged. Recurring nightmare goes back to his hand.
And I'll be able to help you. All right. So looks like he took a bunch of damage.
Yeah, he opted to kill the War Chief, and he took 5 then.
Triple block War Chief
and then blocked the Pile Driver.
And chump the Pile Driver and block something and take 5, and then he just double recurred in the next turn. Yeah. This one feels over. I bet he only has one recur in his deck too. We thought he was getting unlucky because he wasn't drawing black mana, but secretly he was getting insanely lucky because he drew a hermit and the case recur.
Yeah, it definitely is a good setup against the Goblins deck, especially that Sharpshooter's gone.
Right. That lackey can't attack, right?
Correct. There's no more War Chief in play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it really matters, but Jeff called him out. So this is so you double block pile driver, block 2 other 1/1s, and block a bigger guy with the Beloth, or block any one of the guys with the Beloth.
Yeah.
I guess he wants the deranged hermit to die anyway, so he can recur it. So you just have to keep one guy around.
I mean, I guess in theory you're hoping that the Bayless stays around, but
this works well though, right? Because he triple blocks with the deranged hermit. He can triple block pile driver. He can double block one of the 1/1s.
Blocks the lackey with the 2 1/1s.
And then he just keeps
He's taking
the Beloth. Yeah. He'll have the Beloth around, but he'll have to recur it away, but that's fine because he's just going to recur back a hermit and then the Beloth again.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Is that what he did?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah.
That should take. He hasn't adjusted his life total.
Yeah. He's gonna take one of those 1/1s or 2/2s because of the king. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, as long as this keeps going, then
there's no way out for Felix because he doesn't have sharpshooter anymore. So it's just there's literally no way out. I guess no, because even Pyrostatic Pillar doesn't give, or not Pillar, Pyromancer doesn't give trample, right?
Correct, does not give trample.
So there's no way out. Right, takes 2, dead. And now Jeff's going to have an entire board again. He's going to, maybe he can even play a little guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
As soon as this is done, I'm going to have to run.
I'd probably just attack.
So yeah, I will have to leave shortly after this leaves. Just I guess I wasn't expecting this to go 2 hours. So
yeah, neither was I. I'm setting all my kids up with their Zoom meetings and shit.
Yeah. So
if you have to go for a half a second or whatever, I can carry it for the last minute or two. But
well, I have a meeting scheduled right now, so I'm just gonna fall in with my coworker after I'm done. So
okay, no worries. As soon as this is over, we will both sign off.
Yeah, if something really looks weird or changes, then I'll have to leave. But
okay,
I think this will be done soon. Oh.
I think it'll be done in like a turn. Yeah. Elder, sack Elder, get deranged hermit, get 2 lands, play a land. GG's.
Yeah, this is just an engine that Jeff has that Felix really can't interact with.
Right. Can't interact, can't.
Technically, he can interact. I'm trying to think if there's a spot. I guess no, not with the Recurring Nightmare. I was thinking that if a trigger went on the stack with Recurring Nightmare in play, but I guess that wouldn't happen because you stack it right away.
Right. So, right. Like with Incinerator or something?
With Naturalize, I was thinking like there's a spot you might be able to naturalize.
If Jeff plays Recurring Nightmare and then does something else, but I think Jeff knows enough to not do that.
All right, I'm gonna have to abandon ship. So I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'll just end the stream when this is done.
Okay.
So thank you for carrying your weight, and I had fun. Thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, same. No worries, man. I totally get it. I didn't think this would take 2 hours either. I'm scrambling as well. So go do your work, and I'll finish the last 2 minutes.
All right.
So what the hell is that? Oh, arms dealer. Oh, he just ringleadered for what? Arms dealer, pile driver, and lackey. I mean, all this is doing is just eating up time. But I guess what's he going to do? Not do it. I don't know why Jeff's reading arms dealer because that card's been in the broken draft for literally 25 years. But and so next turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He has another land in hand, so he can literally triple recur next turn. So don't pay for the deranged hermit. Recur it back in, recur it away for something else, and then recur it back in and have 12 tutus and a wall of blossoms and whatever. Like it just doesn't matter. And he even has vendetta for that Goblin King. Oh boy. Just to add insult to injury. Hermit goes attack with Balath. I guess you probably just attack, keep those 4/4s around, and there's 2/2s around, and attack with them too. Make 4 guys. Yeah. This is kind of a fun spot to be in if you're Jeff. These yeah, he definitely just attacks with everybody, right? Because then he can derange hermit away the or recurring nightmare away the hermit, bring whatever else he wants back in, probably a festering goblin or something, and then bring the hermit back in again and have literally 11 tutus and a Balath. Man, I do have to say Felix put up a hell like if Jeff doesn't have the recur, which I feel reasonably confident he only has the one of in his deck at this point. Um, he probably just loses this game because he can't come back from all that stuff. Like even if he had the deed that one turn, he's in trouble. The turn that he had 6 mana and he played, and we thought he was going to deed and activate it. But just to get to a point ever where he got favored for a little while, he was definitely favored the turn before this recur came into play, which is very impressive off of a triple mulligan. No, he gained 4 life at some point just in case. Okay, your turn. All right, I'm going to play 3 1/1s or 2 1/1s and a 1/2, and I will say go. He's picking it up. Very noble.
Hi, yeah, sorry I'm late.